I love when I get to meet people's siblings. Like, you have a picture of what someone's like, and then you meet their siblings who know everything about them, like not only like the best parts of that about them, but like who they are, like late at night or like when they're hangry and tired. Like they just know their deepest secrets, which is why I love meeting them, because I get to get like a fuller picture of who they actually are. And today I'm really excited. We're about to read the book of James, and James is Jesus's brother. Now, imagine what it was like growing up with Jesus. Like, was he just like 5 years old, like performing miracles, or like a little 13-year-old who was awkward, like sharing these sermons, like they were just like profound? Like, I'm sure James like, dude, Jesus, come on, what are you doing? But today we're gonna hear from Jesus' brother. I'm really excited. Let's get into it. I think it's really interesting what people choose to address first. Like you could have started anywhere, and James chooses to start with probably one of the most important lessons that we could probably learn as a result of what has happened this past year. But let's read in James chapter 1, starting in verse 2. Dear brothers and sisters, when troubles of any kind come your way. James, right off the bat, he says, hey, if you want to be a follower of Jesus, know that it might get really tough. Jesus himself says that in this world you will have troubles. And I think if we look at the world around us, we could be very certain that troubles are going to come our way. But then James says this: when troubles of any kind come your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy. Like, how can James say that? I mean, think about it. Like if we think about some of the hard things that we've had to go through, maybe you've gotten denied from the school of your dreams. Maybe your parents got a divorce. Maybe you've lost friends or family members or something like that. Consider that an opportunity for joy? How can James say that? See, James witnessed Jesus himself, Son of God, his brother, go through excruciating trials. So when we consider our lives, if Jesus, Son of God, went through these trials, and if James even witnessed that, we can be sure that we ourselves are not immune to going through suffering. But we know that there is hope and there's a purpose behind them. I think he's trying to take a very real truth and say, hey, life is going to get hard, but know that there is hope. There is hope in the midst of those trials, and there is a purpose behind those trials. And here's what it is. For you know that when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. So let it grow. For when your endurance is fully developed, you will be perfect and complete, needing nothing. He says, instead, I think we should view our trials as an opportunity for us to get stronger, as an opportunity for us to grow in our patience and grow in our endurance, as an opportunity to maybe grow in our dependence on God, saying, God, I need you now more than ever. Have you ever noticed, maybe do some reflection time on your own life. When has your faith, or when have you grown the most? Take some time today to reflect on your past and maybe consider, God, how have you used the hard things that I've gone through to grow me, to make me stronger, to maybe grow my faith, grow my dependence on you. God, how have you been there for me in my past? And you see, this should be one of the most hopeful passages in the Bible. See, the world is trying to answer this question: why do bad things happen? And the world doesn't have an answer, but they try to throw these statements around like, oh, you got to find the good in it, or don't worry, everything's going to be okay, like stuff like that. And here God is saying like, hey, bad things are going to happen, but I'm the only one who's able to take a bad thing and a tragedy in your life and make it purposeful. See, whatever it is that you're going through today, whatever trials or suffering you might be experiencing, know that they are not a waste. It's doing something in you right now, and you might not be able to see it. And this is such an important message for us today, because I know how desperately all of us want to understand. And we want to ask those questions like, God, why? How could I go through this right now? And we want those answers, and I know how desperately we want to know. And if you're stuck, if you don't know, maybe you're going through a trial right now and you don't understand how God could possibly use you, the next verse in James is a practical application point for all of us. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. If any of us lacks wisdom, that's like saying, hey, if anyone needs sleep at night, or if anyone needs air to breathe, all of us should be bringing our requests to God and bringing these questions to God and saying, God, how are you going to use what I'm going through to grow me, to make me stronger, to grow my faith, to make me perfect and complete? I love that phrase from James. What you're going through is not meaningless. And we can trust that whatever it is that we go through, whatever trials and sufferings that we're going to face, we know that God is going to use them. It's going to do something in us and make us perfect and complete to reach a point where we don't need anything.